Hello, welcome. I should say welcome to Dell because you're the last member of staff to have arrived. So, would you mind introducing yourself? What's your name? Where do you come from?
Hi, yeah, so my name is Ben Dalton, and I've just arrived in Delk in Lancaster. I'm a new lecturer in French studies, and yeah, I'm really excited and happy to be here. I'm loving Lancaster so far. I'm really liking getting to know everyone. Yeah, thanks so much, Cyril, as well, for being so welcoming, for inviting me to do this video as well.
No problem. It's a pleasure. So, and originally before Lancaster, where were you based and what did you do?
So yeah, I've been at a few different places. After my PhD, I taught in Paris for a while at Nanterre University. And then after Nanterre, I got a job at Birmingham University. So I taught at Birmingham University for about a year and a little bit. And then I moved to Lancaster after that.
Excellent. And you mentioned your PhD. So,
Mm.
what is your field of research?
Yeah. So my field of research, I've got quite an interdisciplinary field of research. So I look at dialogues between contemporary French philosophy and culture and medical science and biomedical science. So my PhD, for example, was on the contemporary French philosopher Catherine Malabou. So Catherine Malabou is a contemporary philosopher, and she's writing at the moment, and she's writing about dialogues between philosophy and neuroscience in particular. So she looks at the human brain. She looks at the way the human brain transforms throughout life. Which is a process called plasticity or neuroplasticity. So the brain is always kind of reshaping and remodeling itself. And her philosophy kind of asks the question, what should we do with that knowledge? What should we do with the knowledge that our brain is plastic and moldable? How can we use our brains for freedom and for doing good in the world? How can we use that transformative potential of our brains to do good in the world? So that was my PhD, and now I'm kind of moving further into looking at how philosophy and medicine talk to each other. And my new project is about the hospital, and I'm thinking about how philosophy can help us think differently about hospital spaces and clinical environments, and how philosophy can even propose new types of hospitals and clinical spaces. Um, and propose new ways of healing and treatment, and new ways for thinking about illness and the body in general.
Okay, wow, fascinating. If I was a student, I would love to be studying something that links between philosophy, language, and science and medicine. That's fascinating. So, what got you into that field? Like, where did you learn your languages, and which language do you speak, by the way? Or should I say,
So
which languages do you speak?
yeah, so I speak French. I would say my kind of main language is, well, apart from it, like obviously my mother tongue is English, but and then I speak French. I also did German at university, and still speak German whenever I can. And I've just started learning Mandarin Chinese, and I started learning Mandarin Chinese at the start of the pandemic. A lot of people I know took up languages at the start of the pandemic, which I find that a really fascinating fact, that we were all enclosed at home, and we were all unable to go out, and a lot of people turned towards languages as a kind of way of combating that situation, or feeling more connected with other people, or maybe even preparing for when the pandemic would be over and we could go back out into the world armed with new languages and new ways of speaking to each other. So I find that really interesting that a lot of people had that same experience. But
I
I was thinking back to kind of how I started well, how I fell in love with languages. And that was when I was about 11, I would say. And I kind of went into a French class for the first time at secondary school and had an amazing teacher. And he ran the languages exchange. He ran the French exchange at school. And we had the opportunity to go to France. And that was at the age of 11, that was a really fantastic experience. Also a very challenging experience to find yourself suddenly kind of in a family where you can't understand what they're saying, and you can't at the beginning, at least, you can't it's really difficult to express yourself, and you're really thrown in at the deep end there. But I loved that experience and kind of learned very quickly that through a language you really get a door into another culture that you maybe wouldn't have done otherwise. And in learning a language, you're not just learning new words, you're learning new ways of thinking, new structures of thought, new ideas. And also it just introduces you to people that you'd never have met before. It really goes a long way, I think, just trying to speak a tiny little bit of someone's language, even if you're not very good. It creates an instant rapport between you and someone. Yeah, so I think that's how I fell in love with languages.
Okay, well, fascinating, and I totally agree. I started Japanese during the pandemic, and I'm still doing that. So there you go, we agree. And once again, thank you very much, and welcome in Delke.
Thanks so much.